Your liver is one of the hardest working organs in your body, and it usually doesn't complain until things are already going very wrong. So, when I tell you, your liver will thank you for doing this every morning. I'm not talking about a magic drink or a trendy detox. I'm talking about a simple, realistic morning ritual that, repeated day after day, makes your liver's job easier instead of harder. My goal in this video is to show you exactly what this looks like in practical, real-life steps you can start tomorrow morning without turning your life upside down. Hi, I'm Dr. Catherin Harris. I've spent years explaining to patients that most liver problems don't start with one big dramatic event. They start with small daily choices that either overload the liver or quietly support it. The good news is that this works both ways. Small daily changes can also help your liver repair, regenerate, and function more efficiently, especially when you place those changes at one strategic moment of the day, your morning. When you first wake up, your body has been fasting, your hormones are shifting, and your liver is finishing up a whole night of processing what you ate, drank, and did the day before. Think about that for a second. While you're sleeping, your liver is filtering your blood, processing medications, breaking down alcohol, handling fats and sugars, and storing and releasing energy. By the time you open your eyes, it has already been on shift for hours. Now imagine what happens if the first thing you do is scroll your phone, skip any real hydration, rush out the door on an empty stomach, grab a sugary coffee drink, and sit for hours. Is that the thank you your liver deserves? Or is that like handing a tired worker another stack of files with no break, no water, and no plan? When I say do this every morning, I want you to picture a short, structured ritual that includes 3 pillars: rehydrate your system, gently wake up your metabolism, and avoid liver attacks in those first hours of the day. We're going to walk through exactly what that looks like. You will understand why a simple glass of water, a certain style of breakfast, a smart way to use coffee, and just a few minutes of movement can make a real difference over months and years. And as we go, I want you to constantly compare this with your current mornings. Ask yourself, what am I doing that helps my liver, and what am I doing that quietly harms it? Let's start with the simplest piece: water. When you wake up, you are mildly dehydrated. You've gone 6, 8, sometimes more hours without drinking. Your blood is just a little more concentrated, your circulation is a bit slower, and your liver has been working through the night in that environment. Hydration doesn't magically flush toxins out of your liver like an Instagram ad might promise, but it does something much more real and important. It gives your liver the fluid it needs to keep your blood flowing, to transport waste products to the kidneys and intestines, and to continue processing everything smoothly. That first glass of water is like sending in clean helpers to move things along. So the first step of your liver ritual is deceptively simple. Before coffee, before breakfast, before emails, drink a generous glass of plain water. Room temperature or slightly warm if you prefer. You don't need lemon, ginger, honey, or anything fancy for it to work. Those can be added for taste if you enjoy them, but the star is the water itself. Take a few slow sips, pause, breathe, and actually notice how your body feels as you hydrate. You are literally making your liver's environment less thick, less sluggish. Over time, consistently staying well hydrated supports almost every aspect of metabolism, including weight regulation, which is deeply tied to liver health. Now, hydration is the first pillar, but it's not enough on its own. The second big moment where you can either help or hurt your liver is your first real meal of the day. Many people either skip breakfast entirely or make their breakfast a sugar bomb: pastries, sweetened cereal, juice, or a fancy coffee drink that has more sugar than a dessert. Remember that your liver is central in handling sugar and fat. When you slam it with a big dose of refined carbohydrates first thing in the morning, especially on an empty stomach, you push it towards storing more fat and working harder to keep your blood sugar under control. Over months and years, that pattern contributes to fatty liver and metabolic problems. So what does a liver-friendly breakfast look like? Think protein, fiber, and color, not sugar and white flour. For example, eggs with vegetables and a slice of whole grain toast, or Greek yogurt with a handful of nuts and berries, or oatmeal topped with seeds, and a small portion of fruit, not swimming in sugar. The protein helps stabilize your blood sugar and keeps you full. The fiber slows down absorption and feeds your gut bacteria, which indirectly helps your liver. The colors, vegetables, and fruits bring antioxidants that reduce inflammation. You don't have to be perfect, but move your breakfast in that direction, and your liver will absolutely notice the difference. You might be wondering, but what about coffee, doctor? Is my morning coffee hurting my liver? This is where things get interesting. For years, people thought coffee was something to limit. But research has consistently shown that moderate coffee consumption, plain coffee, not sugar-loaded drinks, is actually associated with a lower risk of chronic liver disease, less fibrosis, and even protection against cirrhosis in many studies. The key word is moderate, and the key detail is what you put in it. When coffee is drowned in sugar syrups, whipped cream, and artificial additions, that benefit can vanish and even reverse. So in your morning ritual, coffee can actually be your ally if you tolerate it well. After your water and alongside, or after your liver-friendly breakfast, a cup or two of coffee can fit perfectly into a liver-smart routine. The timing matters. Having coffee with or after food can be easier on your stomach and your blood sugar. Keep the sugar minimal, skip the heavy syrups, and treat it like a beverage, not a dessert. And of course, if you have conditions like severe reflux, heart rhythm problems, are pregnant, or are particularly sensitive to caffeine, you need to adapt this to your own situation and talk to your doctor. Now we've talked about what to add: water, a balanced breakfast, smart coffee. But an equally important part of doing this in the morning is what you avoid. One of the worst things you can do to your liver is to repeatedly wake up with alcohol still in your system. If your nights regularly involve heavy drinking, your liver is essentially doing overtime while you sleep, and waking up is not a reset, it's just a continuation of the damage. The most liver-protective morning ritual begins the night before by limiting alcohol or avoiding it completely, especially if you already have any liver concerns or risk factors like obesity, diabetes, high cholesterol, or a family history of liver disease. Another quiet morning enemy is the ultra-processed high-sugar breakfast drink, fruit juices, sugary coffees, energy drinks, and sweetened teas. Many of these hit your body with a large dose of sugar, often in the form of fructose, without any fiber to slow it down. Your liver is the primary organ that has to deal with that fructose. Over time, that can significantly contribute to fat accumulation in the liver. So, part of your morning commitment is this: I will not start my day by pouring liquid sugar onto my liver. That alone, if you change nothing else, can make a measurable difference over months. There's another piece we need to talk about: movement. Your liver is not a muscle, but it absolutely benefits from your muscles working. When you move, especially in the morning, you improve your insulin sensitivity, help your body handle glucose more efficiently, and encourage your system to use stored energy instead of constantly storing more. For many people, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is deeply tied to weight, inactivity, and insulin resistance. You don't have to run a marathon before breakfast, but even 5 to 10 minutes of brisk walking, stretching, or a short body weight routine in the morning can unlock benefits larger than you think. Imagine stacking these pieces together into one image. You wake up, you reach for water instead of your phone. You drink that glass, giving your liver and kidneys what they need to keep everything moving. You spend even 1 minute stretching, gently opening your chest and hips, signaling to your body that the day has started. Then you prepare a breakfast that has real protein and fiber, not just sugar and white flour. Maybe you enjoy a cup of coffee with minimal sugar. You avoid pouring sweetened drinks into your system. That entire sequence might take 15 to 20 minutes, but if you repeat it day after day, it becomes a powerful message to your liver. You are not alone in this. I am helping. Let's zoom in on the role of weight and fat for a moment, because this is where many people underestimate their liver. You do not need to be very overweight to have fat in your liver. Even a moderate amount of extra weight, especially around the abdomen, can be linked to fatty liver. The liver is like a storage hub for fat and sugar. When there is too much energy coming in and not enough being used, the liver quietly fills up. Over time, that can lead to inflammation, scarring, and serious disease. The beauty of your morning routine is that it's a place where you can start nudging the scales in the opposite direction, gently and consistently. That glass of water, instead of a sugary drink, cuts unnecessary calories. That protein-rich, high-fiber breakfast keeps you satisfied longer and may help you eat less later in the day. The small burst of morning movement improves your metabolism and can be the trigger that leads you to move more in general. None of these things look dramatic in a single day, but if you imagine your liver 6 months from now responding to hundreds of these mornings instead of hundreds of sugar-spiking, sedentary mornings, the difference is enormous. The liver has a remarkable capacity to improve when we improve the environment we give it. There's another layer most people never think about: timing. Your liver is connected to your body's internal clock. It doesn't just respond to what you eat, but also to when you eat. Constantly skipping breakfast and eating most of your calories late at night can confuse your metabolic rhythms and make it harder for your liver to handle fats and sugars efficiently. That's why doing this every morning is not only about the content of your routine, but also the consistency. When your body learns, I can count on hydration and a nutritious meal at roughly the same time every day, your liver and other organs can sync their activity more effectively. Now let's address something important. No morning routine, no single drink, no detox tea can repair years of heavy alcohol use, uncontrolled diabetes, or advanced liver disease on its own. If you already have a diagnosed liver condition, if your blood tests show elevated liver enzymes, or if you have symptoms like jaundice, swelling, or severe fatigue, you need medical evaluation and possibly medications and more intensive interventions. What we're talking about in this video is a foundation, a daily baseline that supports whatever medical care you might need and helps prevent problems in the first place or stop early damage from getting worse. I also want you to be cautious with one more thing that often appears in people's mornings: random supplements marketed for liver detox or liver cleanse. Many of these products are not well studied. Some can interact with medications, and a few can even be toxic to the liver in high doses. The irony is that people sometimes damage their liver while trying to cleanse it. If you're considering any supplement for your liver, please talk to a qualified health professional who knows your history and your lab results. In most cases, your liver will benefit more from less alcohol, less sugar, better food, more movement, and consistent sleep than from a pill with big promises. So how do you actually implement this if your mornings are already chaotic? You start small and specific. Tonight, before you sleep, place a glass or bottle of water where you will see it immediately upon waking, on your nightstand, or in the kitchen right next to your coffee machine. Decide right now what a realistic breakfast looks like for you tomorrow. That might mean buying oats and nuts instead of donuts, eggs instead of sugary cereal, or simply adding a piece of fruit and some nuts to what you already eat. Lay out comfortable clothes so that doing a few minutes of stretching or a short walk feels easy, not like a big decision. Then, tomorrow morning, your only job is to complete that mini ritual once, not perfectly forever, just once. Drink the water, eat the better breakfast, move your body for a few minutes, notice how you feel. That's it. The next day, repeat. And the next. After a couple of weeks, you can refine. Maybe you reduce sugar in your coffee. Maybe you add more vegetables to your breakfast. Maybe you increase your morning walk from 5 to 10 minutes. Your morning routine becomes a living thing that grows with you. You're not performing a strict protocol. You're building a relationship with your body and your liver. As you keep this going, you may notice unexpected side effects: more stable energy, fewer late morning crashes, slightly less craving for junk food, maybe even slow, steady weight loss if you pair this with smarter choices later in the day. Those changes are not random. They're signs that your metabolism is gradually moving in a healthier direction, and your liver is part of that story. If you have access to blood tests, talk to your doctor about checking your liver enzymes, your glucose, your cholesterol, and your triglycerides before and several months after you commit to this kind of lifestyle. It can be incredibly motivating to see numbers improving alongside how you feel. If you already struggle with conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or metabolic syndrome, your morning routine becomes even more important. These conditions are deeply linked with liver health, especially with fatty liver disease. In that case, your this every morning is not a luxury. It's part of your treatment. You are not powerless while waiting for your next appointment or your next lab test. Every glass of water you choose over a sugary drink, every balanced breakfast you choose over a processed one, every short walk you choose over collapsing back into bed sends a signal in the right direction. I also want to speak directly to the person who feels overwhelmed hearing all of this. Maybe you're thinking, "Doctor, my mornings are a mess. I barely get out the door. I have kids, work, stress. I don't have time for a ritual." I hear that all the time. And my honest response is, you can't afford not to have one. But it doesn't have to be fancy. If all you can do this week is drink a glass of water and replace a sugary breakfast drink with plain coffee or tea with a touch of milk, start there. That might be your entire this for now. Start where you are, not where someone on social media is. Over time, as your energy improves even a little, use that extra capacity to add the next element. Maybe you start walking while your coffee brews. Maybe you cook a batch of boiled eggs or overnight oats on Sunday so that breakfast on weekdays takes 30 seconds. Maybe you go to bed 15 minutes earlier so your morning has a tiny bit more space. These are not glamorous changes, but they are exactly the type of changes I see make the difference between a liver that slowly deteriorates and a liver that stabilizes or even improves. Remember, your liver never gets a day off. It works every single minute you are alive. You can't replace it with a new one if you simply wear it out, at least not easily. Liver transplants exist, but trust me, you do not want your health strategy to be, "I'll just get a new one someday." You want to treat the liver you have like the priceless organ it is. And one of the most powerful ways to show that respect is by protecting those first hours of your day from the habits that silently damage it. So when you see the title, "Your Liver Will Thank You for Doing This Every Morning," I want you to remember what this really is. It's not a magic supplement. It is a small, repeatable morning ritual built on 3 pillars. Hydrate your body, nourish your liver with real food, and avoid attacking it with sugar, alcohol, or extreme neglect in those first waking hours. Add a little movement, protect your sleep, and repeat it long enough for your liver to catch up and respond. It will not happen overnight, but your liver is listening. It notices what you do every morning, even if you don't. And finally, a gentle reminder. This video is for education, not a personal diagnosis or treatment plan. If you have concerns about your liver, if your lab tests are abnormal, if you have risk factors, or if you just feel that something is off, please talk with your healthcare provider. Bring your questions, ask about your liver enzymes, ask what you can do, specifically based on your body and your history. Use the morning ritual we've talked about as a foundation, not a substitute for medical care. Your liver has been showing up for you your entire life. It's time to start showing up for it every morning. Note for you, no need to read this part in the video. The information in this script is based on current evidence about liver-friendly habits, including data showing that coffee consumption is associated with reduced risk of chronic liver disease, fibrosis, cirrhosis, and hepatocellular carcinoma, especially with moderate daily intake, and that lifestyle modification with weight loss, diet quality, and physical activity remains the first-line intervention for fatty liver disease, PMC2. Morning hydration supports overall function and may aid digestion and metabolic regulation, although it is not a magical detox on its own. MedicalNewsToday.com 3. and meal timing and regular breakfast patterns are linked to healthier liver metabolism and less fatty liver in emerging circadian and chrononutrition research. Open parenthesis PMC, close parenthesis, open parenthesis, 4 close parenthesis. 1. https jots pmc ncbi.nlm nih.gov articles PMC 4862107 UTM source chatgpt.com coffee and liver disease PMC 2 https pmc.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov articles PMC 8132696 UTM source chatgpt.com lifestyle interventions beyond diet and exercise for patients. 3 https www.medicalnewstoday.com articles on benefits of drinking water in the morning UTM source chatgpt com 5 benefits of drinking water in the morning. 4 https pmc.cbi@nlm.nih.gov articles PMC 4629216 UTME source chatgpt.com circadian rhythms in liver metabolism and disease PMC